You think newer trucks should last longer, better technology, better engineering, higher price. So naturally, you expect better reliability. But what if that's not what's happening? What if the exact opposite is true? Because right now, 2025 trucks are failing earlier than ever before. And it's not bad luck. It's not coincidence. It's design. See, modern trucks aren't built the same way anymore. They look stronger. They feel more advanced. They cost more than ever. But underneath all that, they're more fragile, more complex, and far more dependent on systems that weren't designed to last long term. Let's break this down. Older trucks were mechanical, simple systems, fewer parts. If something failed, it was isolated. You could fix it, replace it, move on. But modern trucks, they're layered. Everything is connected. Sensors talking to modules, modules talking to software, software controlling hardware. So when one thing fails, it doesn't stay contained, it spreads. A single sensor issue can trigger engine warnings, transmission limitations, performance drops, and suddenly, your perfectly fine truck is barely usable. Now here's where it gets worse, because these systems aren't just complex, they're sensitive. Heat, dust, vibration. Things trucks are supposed to handle easily now become problems because modern components aren't built like old ones. They're smaller, more compact, more efficient, but also less durable. And when they fail, they don't degrade slowly. They fail suddenly. No warning, no gradual decline. Just one day, something stops working and everything changes. Now here's the part nobody tells you. These failures are happening earlier, much earlier, not at 200,000 miles, not even at 150,000, sometimes before 80,000, sometimes sooner. And that's shocking, considering how expensive these trucks are. So the question is, why? Why are newer trucks failing faster? The answer isn't what most people think. It's not poor quality control. It's not bad materials. It's something deeper. Modern trucks are optimized, not for lifespan, but for efficiency and compliance, fuel economy targets, emission regulations, weight reduction, digital integration. Everything is tuned for performance on paper, not durability in real-world use, which means thinner materials, higher operating stress, more heat, more strain on components, and less margin for error. So instead of lasting longer, they wear out faster. But there's another layer, and this is where it becomes uncomfortable, because these systems aren't just fragile, they're expensive to fix, extremely expensive. A small sensor failure can cost hundreds, a module issue, thousands, and because everything is connected, you're rarely fixing just one thing, you're fixing the system, and that system is designed to keep you dependent. Dealer diagnostics, software resets, calibrations, all required, all paid. So even minor issues become major costs. And over time, those costs stack up quietly until one day you realize something. This truck isn't aging like older ones did. It's wearing out faster, costing more, and giving you less control. And that's not an accident, because the industry has shifted from long-term durability to controlled life cycle, shorter ownership cycles, more upgrades, more replacements, more revenue. Think about it. If trucks lasted 20 years like they used to, how often would people buy new ones? Exactly. So instead of building trucks that last forever, they build trucks that perform well early, then slowly become expensive to maintain. Not broken, not useless, just costly enough that replacing them starts to make more sense. And that's the strategy. Keep them running, but not cheaply. Now here's the breaking point. It's when you realize your truck didn't fail early by accident. It was designed to, not to break instantly, but to become harder to keep over time. And once you see that, you start thinking differently. Smart truck owners already have. They don't just look at horsepower anymore, or tech features, or interior screens. They ask one question: how long will this really last without draining me? Because that's the real measure of a truck, not how it performs when it's new, but how it behaves when it's not. And in today's market, that's where most trucks start to fall apart. But there's a way to avoid it, a way to spot which trucks are built to last and which ones are built to cycle out. And once you understand that difference, you'll never choose a truck the same way again. Because now, you're not just looking at how it performs today, you're thinking about what it becomes over time. And that's where most people get it wrong. They focus on the first impression, the smooth drive, the big screen, the comfort. But trucks don't fail in the beginning. They fail later, when the miles go up, when the systems start aging. That's when the truth shows up. Because modern trucks aren't simple anymore. They're layered, sensors, software, modules, everything connected. So when one small thing fails, it doesn't stay small, it spreads. A minor sensor issue can trigger warnings, limit performance, and change how the truck behaves. And suddenly, something that felt perfect doesn't feel reliable anymore. Now here's the real problem. These systems aren't just complex, they're sensitive. Heat, dust, vibration. The exact conditions trucks are built for now become risks. And when something fails, it doesn't warn you. It just happens. One day it's fine. Next day, something stops working. And fixing it, that's where it gets expensive. Because now, you're not just replacing parts. You're dealing with systems, diagnostics, software resets, dealer involvement. Everything costs more. Everything takes longer. And slowly, you start realizing something. This truck isn't aging like older ones did. It's becoming expensive, faster. Not because it's useless, but because keeping it running is no longer simple. And that's the shift. Modern trucks aren't built for long-term ownership. They're built to perform early and cost more later. But there's something even deeper, something most people don't notice until they're already stuck. The more advanced the truck is, the less control you actually have. You can't just fix things yourself anymore. You can't rely on basic tools. Everything is locked behind systems, behind software, behind access you don't control. And that changes the entire ownership experience. Because now, you're not just driving the truck, you're depending on a network that decides how problems are diagnosed, how they're fixed, and how much it's going to cost you. And over time, that dependency adds up. More visits, more expenses, more uncertainty. Until one day, you start asking yourself a simple question. Is this even worth keeping anymore? And that's the moment everything clicks. Because you realize the truck didn't suddenly become bad. It just became expensive enough to push you toward replacing it. And once you see that pattern, you stop looking at trucks the same way. You stop chasing features and start thinking long-term. How complex is it? How many systems does it rely on? How much will it really cost to maintain? Because that's what actually matters. Not how it feels when it's new, but how it behaves when it's not.